Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of the Spartan Shadows podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and I'm joined with one of our co-hosts, Emmett. Zach unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, but he's here in spirit. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to catch up on some quick football news and notes. We'll get up to speed on hockey and everything that's transpired with MSU hockey since the last time we've been here. And then, of course, a lot of basketball talk, to say the least. We'll cover the Auburn loss a little bit, and we'll go into all the craziness that's happened since then, the portal happenings, and then we, of course, wanted to do, if you've seen on our Twitter page, we were planning to do off-season or end-of-season awards for MSU basketball, and so we put some fan polls out there that got really good responses, and we want to share some awards for the Spartan Shadows crew for that. We appreciate everybody tuning in, like always. We missed you guys, and thanks for the patience on why we've taken a little bit of break to catch up here because we were doing a lot and posting a lot. We appreciate the little time off, reset, and we're ready to go. Emmett, welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight, and how's it going?
Of course, pretty good, honestly. Just we're in that weird transition period now where we're kind of switching gears to off-season, basically. Spring football wraps up in a couple weeks, and then you have baseball, and that's really about it until summer starts back up for football. So, kind of starting to get to that slow period. We'll find stuff to keep you entertained, but until then, let's go through some basketball and football.
And we'll try to stick with our schedule of getting you guys an episode a week. We've got some fun ideas for the slow time, of course. So we'll try to let you know the plan as it develops, and hopefully have some fun things to keep you guys engaged. But moving on to actual news and stuff that's happened, we'll start with football. We do just want to unfortunately lead off the show. We know MSU is currently being investigated by the NCAA for potential recruiting violations that occurred under Mel Tucker's era and staff. We have no idea what these recruiting violations are. Obviously, the president of the university and pretty much MSU, everyone who is important has said, we can't comment on it because it's against NCAA rules and regulations. So we don't know anything. Of course, when things come available for us to report on, we will let you guys know, of course. But unfortunate to hear. It seems like just more stuff gets kicked up from the previous tenure that we unfortunately don't want to have to deal with, but we will. And the university president did say that everybody is cooperating, and we'll hopefully know more soon. So unfortunate thing to have to kick off the show, but we did want to acknowledge that we are aware. Obviously, we heard about it. We'll let you guys know as soon as we can. So into more exciting news, Emmett, you've got some good news on one of our Spartan offensive linemen getting a potential pro day invite for an NFL team.
Yeah, so I was doing some digging. Actually, last night, we are recording this on Thursday night. On Wednesday night, I was doing some digging for Lions on Sports Illustrated, which I now write for as well. I was doing some digging and was able to contact Luke Newman and ask him about the local Lions Pro Day happening next week, and Luke Newman confirmed he will be in attendance. He was invited by the Detroit Lions to show out in front of the Lions at their training facility in Allen Park, so wish him the best of luck. Luke's a great guy, was, I believe, the highest rated or second highest rated Spartan offensive lineman. Got all Big Ten honorable mention this last fall. Started all 12 games. You name it, Luke was willing to do it. Came in as predominantly a tackle, was willing to work offensive guard, and then during the Shrine Bowl was working at center. So Newman's a guy who he will work wherever you want him at, and I think that NFL teams will see his value. Put up 29 reps on bench for the Michigan State Pro Day, so maybe he can improve on that number. I don't know exactly what the Lions Pro Day will entail, but good to know that the local team has some interest in him. He's also played his high school ball in Michigan, so hopefully he gets to go and play professional ball in Michigan too.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, congrats to Luke. He was an anchor on the line this year, and it was really needed because of some of the depth and the injury issues that we had. It was good to have him kind of be that rock steady spot on the line that we didn't really have to worry about too much. Congrats to him, and of course, good luck next week. Hopefully, Brad Holmes and the staff can see something in him and maybe take a flyer on him. Some portal news. Unfortunately, an MSU football player has entered the transfer portal. What do you have about that, Emmett?
Yeah, so this came out Tuesday night after practice number 7 of the year for spring football. A defensive back, Caleb Coley, a third or I believe, a third-year player, defensive back from Georgia, has entered the transfer portal. He played 10 games for Michigan State, starting 2 of them. Played and started in 1 game last year. The other 11 he dealt with injury. Not much is known about destinations, where at. Not much is known for why he transferred. My best guess would be just the depth chart with how many. We brought in 3 defensive backs during the portal cycle, in addition to, I believe, 3 freshman defensive backs. So at some point, something's got to give. And if I was stuck in a position where I thought I wouldn't be seeing the field for my final 2 years, I can completely understand that. He will be finishing his degree at Michigan State before transferring as a grad transfer. I believe he has 2 years of eligibility left. Best of luck to Caleb. Shame we won't get to see more of him in the green and white, but best of luck in the future for him.
Absolutely. I was pretty high on Caleb when he was coming out of high school, and I thought he had the tools to be really good, and he still does. Unfortunately, had that injury last year that kind of sidelined him for a lot of the season. So tough break, but understand it's going to kind of be a theme with this episode, but I can't fault the player for making a better decision for his or her life, at a different university, whatever the motivating factor may be. So hopefully he finds what he's looking for and lands in a good spot and can really excel there. So good luck to Caleb, and hopefully everything works out well for him. Last bit of football news we did have, I know you wanted to mention, there is I believe, another spring practice or spring scrimmage. I can't remember. Sorry.
Scrimmage on Saturday. Johnson Smith confirmed that. Not open to even media, so we will probably hear more about it on a Tuesday or Thursday next week for availability. We might hear more on who shined. I'll keep my ear to the ground to see if anything's posted from either parents or players. Hopefully, the Spartan's actual Twitter page will have some highlights for us to watch. Don't think there's going to be much beyond seeing 4-second clips of a play, but you're always going to see, the good, none of the bad, but hopefully we get to see a little bit more of the boys putting in some work.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep you posted on anything we hear. The weekly press conferences, we try to at least have somebody from the website at. I know Emmett tries to get to them, and one of our newest writers and contributors. You want to introduce him a little bit more and shout
we have Ben Schadel. We brought him in before the end of basketball season, end of the basketball regular season. Yeah, so we brought Ben Schadel in. He actually started his work with Shadows right before the MSU-Wisconsin game. So Ben was able to cover the press conferences today. He was able to feedback some notes to me. There is not a lot to be gleaned because a bunch of it was just your usual media-trained coach speak of, couple players impressed. I know Joshua Eaton got a shout-out from Alante Brown, who was available today. Malik Spencer said a lot of the defensive backs are getting at it. A lot of the offense is showing out. Jack Vellen gave a shout-out to Michael Mathunas as a tight end, called him a complete package. So a few things to be gained from that, but nothing really concrete, and I don't expect to see a ton more until you're really leading up into week 1 of the season. I'm not expecting to see a ton of information. Yeah, we've got to be a little wary of leaking too much about who's doing really well because you don't want any poaching happening. Yep. So, but good to have Ben on board, and thankful he's able to help you out with some media stuff. Our schedules are all crazy, so I'm glad there's somebody else that can help out with that. So shout out to Ben. Hopefully maybe one of these days he'll be able to guest on the podcast with us and help break down some more MSU news and notes and stuff. So that's all we have for football. Let's transition over to hockey. More sad news to lead off with, but with Michigan State, since the last time we spoke, I know I briefly glanced at it the last episode we did with our Ole Miss reactions, but unfortunately MSU hockey was bounced out of the NCAA tournament in the Sweet 16 comparable for the tournament against Cornell. Unfortunately, this is the one and done hockey. If you watched the episode with Jeremy on last week, we have our gripes about hockey being a one and done tournament, and this is why. MSU dominated play for 40, 45, almost maybe even 50 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, the last 10 to 15 minutes, Cornell kind of kicked it up. We had a couple bad bounces lead to goals, and a bad penalty late put Cornell on the power play to give them the go-ahead goal with about 8 seconds left in the game, and that's all she wrote, unfortunately. So bitter taste left in the mouth for the guys. I'm sure, the expectations were sky high for this season, and they delivered, and most of their goals, spent most of the season ranked either number 1 or number 2, Big Ten Conference Championship, Big Ten Tournament Championship.
duel in the D Trophy, Great Lakes Invitational Championship, whole bunch of stuff. But unfortunately, the big one, the national championship, will not be attainable this year, as the Frozen Four is this weekend in St. Louis, and we will not be part of that. But after the season ended, transitioned right into portal talk. We had some players, unfortunately, declare for the portal to transfer. We had a couple players who signed professional deals and will be turning pro. So that's some good news on that front. I just want to quickly go over who left so far and who we know won't be returning next year. I did a complete deep dive on the hockey roster for Spartan Avenue. There's an article up. Pretty sure I've linked it in my Twitter, my personal Twitter. So if anybody's curious at the full breakdown of who's leaving, who's coming, who's going, I spent way too much time the other day getting into that. So feel free to click on that and it'll break down quite a bit of information. But who we know who's left for sure. Joey Larson and Carson Dorward were underclassmen that could have came back, but they signed pro deals with the Islanders and Flyers respectively. Carson's actually set to make his NHL debut. The Flyers want him up for the end of the season, so he will be playing in Philadelphia hopefully the next game. So he's ready to go.
Today, 7 p.m. at Montreal. So if you're in the Montreal area and happen to want to catch a hockey game, go cheer on Carson Dorward. That's all I'm saying.
If you're a Red Wings fan and still clinging to the hope that they could potentially make the playoffs, that's a big one for you because we need Montreal to lose. So go Carson and score 10 goals in that game. That'd be great. So
let's go.
Yep. So congrats to Joey and Carson. David Gucciardi, he was unfortunately going to be gone regardless because he was a senior, but he also signed his entry-level deal with the Capitals. So congratulations to him. Other seniors leaving, Red Savids, obviously our captain, who was injured for the last half of the season. He's out of eligibility. He's expected to be signing his entry-level with the Red Wings at some point because he is a Red Wings prospect. So hopefully, after the injury is all healed and the rehab's done, he will be able to contribute potentially maybe in Grand Rapids next year for the Griffins. Tanner Kelly and Nicholas Andrews, also seniors, unfortunately will not be back. Congratulations to all of the seniors on an amazing MSU career. We appreciate all the hard work. So David, Red, Tanner, Nicholas, we thank you. I already covered Carson. Other portal targets that have left. Austin Overett, the sophomore defenseman, he entered the transfer portal. He appeared in 46 games for MSU, had 8 assists in his career. He has entered the portal, so good luck to him. Backup goalie Luca DiPasquo, Emmett's favorite. He unfortunately entered the transfer portal as well. The sophomore goaltender was rock solid this year in relief when Trey Augustine was at the World Juniors and won us the Great Lakes Invitational, including a big upset win over. Yep, won 7-0. Big upset win over, well, it wasn't an upset win, but a big win over a very good Western Michigan team who is in the Frozen Four. Luca played a huge part of this season and appeared in 11 games total in his Spartan career. Like I said, this year, 7-0. He had a career goals against average for MSU of 194. So he is going to be a highly targeted goalie prospect. Somebody will pick him up and he'll probably be their starter there. So
he's going to make some team really, really happy.
Yep. So good luck to Luca. We appreciate it. His portal declaration kind of spurred a crazy 24 hours or so because MSU's fandom immediately went, why is he leaving if Trey is going to be going? Well, surprise, April Fool's, April morning, April 1st, 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. Trey Augustine declared he is going to be back at MSU for his junior season, something not many people thought was possible. I know we had a lot of back and forth on this podcast and talked to Jer about it. It was something after the Red Wings trade deadline I maybe had kind of just a funny feeling could happen, but it's more so, I think, maybe the way the season ended for MSU. The Red Wings seemed fine with whatever Trey wanted to do, if he wanted to turn pro and continue his development in Grand Rapids or stay at MSU. And it sounds like Trey wants to be here and get one more shot at a national championship. So Trey is coming back. We have a 5th round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets in Melvin Strahl. He was one of the goaltenders on Team Sweden this past year's World Junior Championship, which Sweden's always a stacked team, so that's a tough team to make. He didn't get a lot of playing time in the World Juniors, but he was still on the team and he's a really good goalie, so I know the Blue Jackets fans are kind of interested in him and his development, so he will come in and be Trey's backup this year and then presumably take over the starting role after Trey declares next year. So that's kind of the craziness. Mikey D'Angelo also this morning, I believe, went into the transfer portal. He is unfortunately not going to be back. So good luck to Mikey wherever he lands. He's a solid player for MSU, and good luck to wherever he goes. A lot of moving parts. We have a lot of talented freshmen coming in, a couple transfer portal targets that we're going after. Like I said, full breakdown of it's on Spartan Avenue, so check that out. When we have more time to do a deep hockey dive, and maybe when some more roster spots are set, I'll fill you guys in on that a little bit more. But pretty exciting times. Probably the way the roster's shaking out, we'll probably have at least maybe 3 to 4 more portal ads at some point. We need some more depth in there. So you'll hear some names coming in, and that's totally fine. We'll keep you posted when we know more. So that kind of wraps up hockey. Emmett, that was a lot of information. Did you have anything you wanted to add on that?
If I'm not mistaken, aren't the Spartans highly linked to a 4th overall pick?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Developing of late, actually since Jared was on and we've talked last, it is seemingly more likely that last year's 4th overall pick, also from the Columbus Blue Jackets, by the name of Caden Lindstrom, it sounds like he will be potentially coming to MSU next fall. He was sidelined most of last season with a back injury. He had to have back surgery. He's been recovering in Columbus. The Blue Jackets have actually been keeping an eye on him and kind of watching his rehab while he does that. Highly, highly, highly talented kid. Obviously, there was a reason he went number 4th overall. So that would be a good... Okay, sorry, that's a little too underselling. That would be an incoming transfer. We have some other, I don't want to say transfer, sorry, incoming addition. We have some other players that are coming in that will help fill the role. I didn't even get to mention it. Isaac Howard is probably going to be gone because he more than likely will be turning pro. So in an effort to replace some of his production from this year, a healthy Caden Lindstrom would definitely help fill that void. So it's not a complete done deal yet.
St. Cloud State player as well, a defenseman, I believe.
Yes. I'm blanking on his first name. Colin, I believe. Colin's, oh man, blooper cut here. Hold on. Sorry.
Blooper cut, let's find his name so he's not going to be like, what the fuck? Anyway.
Colin Ralph. Yes, St. Cloud defenseman Colin Ralph. He was the 2nd round pick of the Blues last year. He is a very gigantic individual and will be a big help on the blue line if he would come over here. That's not set in stone yet, but he is someone that has been linked to MSU, so cross your fingers on that. We have another incoming freshman named Riker Lee, who has been tearing up the USHL, and I think he will be a good addition to help fill that offensive void from Isaac Howard, should he not come back. I want to say should. There is a small chance that Isaac Howard could still be in East Lansing next year. Very, very unlikely. The Lightning want to get him signed to his entry-level contract. There's been some kind of back and forth and kind of a stalemate of how that's going to look right now. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm sure it will get done fairly soon. I know Isaac wants to join and get his pro career going as quick as possible, and there's some cap restrictions that Tampa Bay has and some things they have to finagle, so we'll see if that gets worked out. It is a possibility he could just forego that and want to come back. I don't think the Lightning would be thrilled with that because they have to sign him before August of next year. Doing Isaac coming back would basically give like a 3-month window from when next season ends for them to get him signed. Otherwise, they lose his draft rights, and that's a big no-no. So expect Isaac Howard to turn pro soon, but if he doesn't, that would just be that much better for MSU. So we'll obviously keep that posted. And then in other Isaac Howard news, because he's just that good this year, as of today, he was named as one of the 3 finalists for the Hobie Baker Award, which is basically college hockey's Heisman. Goes to the nation's best player. Him, Zeev Bullion from Denver, and
Boston College.
Ryan Leonard from Boston College, thank you, who is also a pro right now. He's in Washington playing with Alex Ovechkin. So they are the 3 finalists. Obviously, all 3 deserving. Ryan Leonard's someone I've watched a lot of with the U.S. National Development Program. He's really good. Isaac Howard's obviously really good in all Big Ten, all everything. Zeev Bullion was a top NHL defensive draft pick last year and has Denver humming in the Frozen Four, and he's just really good too. So all 3 very deserving. We'll let you know who wins that when it gets announced. I believe that's in the coming or next weekend with the Frozen Four too. So but congrats to all 3 of them, and good luck to Isaac. Hopefully we'll get a Hobie Baker winner back in East Lansing. All right, enough hockey talk. I can go forever. Trust me, I would, but Emmett would probably fall asleep because that's not his forte, and we don't need that. So let's move on to basketball. That's obviously where, if you've been on social media the last week or so,
Oh boy.
most of anything related to Michigan State has been basketball related. Why, you ask? Well, last Sunday there was a Elite Eight game, which MSU unfortunately lost to Auburn. Final score on that was 70-64. Credit to MSU for fighting back. They started out fairly strong. It was a close first, maybe 6-7 minutes or so. Unfortunately, Auburn just decided to, I don't know, stop messing around. Auburn couldn't miss a shot. MSU couldn't hit a shot. And in a quick, 7 to 10 minute stretch, MSU found themselves down 17. And unfortunately, they couldn't really dig themselves out of that hole. It seems like every time they'd make a comeback and try to get it within a few points, Auburn would put their foot on the gas again and get it back to 10, 15, and you could just never recover. Like I said, credit to MSU getting it to 6. I don't know if it was ever really that close, but they tried and they fought their asses off to try to get it, one more big comeback. But unfortunately, Auburn's they're a really good basketball team. And I know they had been slumping coming into the tournament, but this is what they look like when they don't slump. So they turned it on late against Michigan. They turned it on early against us, and it didn't let off. So a sad way to end. I will say before we get into any more discourse of the basketball, thank you to Jaden Akins, Simone Zabala, and Frankie Fiddler, our seniors. Unfortunately, they will not be back. Credit to them. We appreciate all of their hard work. I felt gutted for Jaden. You could tell he put everything he had into that game, try to claw back. So it's tough. Jaden especially, a hell of a career at MSU. Frankie and Shimon, they both had big years for us. Frankie actually was huge in this Auburn game to make it close. And he stepped up in the Ole Miss game too, obviously really big. So he was a big part of keeping the tournament run alive the last couple of games. So credit to them. I guess that marked the end of the basketball season. I will go there. And then we got really quickly into portal players declaring. Unfortunately, we will also be without next year Xavier Booker, Garrick Norman, and Trey Holloman, which many MSU fans were caught by surprise. I'll say that to put it nicely. And that set a firestorm on MSU social media on, what was it, April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2 days ago. It wasn't a joke, and this is where I'm going to kind of circle back. I will never be upset, and Emmett can echo this too. I know we're pretty much on the same page, but I'll let him reiterate it. I will never be upset at a player, a young adult, but I would say kids because I'm old, a young kid transferring to a better scenario for whatever reason he wants to, whether it's money, whether it's playing time, whether it's just a better schematic fit, whether it's a better education, whether they want to be closer to home, whatever the case may be. If you want to go, I understand it. That doesn't mean it's not disheartening. It sucks for MSU fans. Trey was the heart and soul of this team this year at many times. He epitomized the Spartan dog for all of his career. That doesn't just automatically go away now that he's leaving. I know people feel betrayed by this, but Trey gave a lot to this program, and that should not be discounted just because he's leaving for one more year of his career. So there's been a lot of online nastiness towards Trey, towards Garrick a little bit, towards Xavier a little bit, towards parents of players. Things got wild the last few days, and I think we all need to kind of just take a step back and chill on that. Emmett, hey, I know I've been talking a lot, but let's let you chime in on that.
Yeah, just no matter how hurt, upset you may be, it's never the place to go and tell a 20, 21-year-old what they should be doing with their life when no matter how much you may think you care about Michigan State athletics, Michigan State basketball, you will never come close to putting in what these kids put in. Yep. They have put more effort, more blood, more sweat, more tears into Michigan State, and they care a ton more than you, frankly, ever will. These kids, they've earned their right. They've earned the right to be called Spartans for life. They've earned the right to be Spartan dogs. And I understand being upset, disappointed, hurt, betrayed, whatever. But don't go and don't go and angrily post or tweet. Don't post on message boards. That will get around to the players. That will get around to the parents. And from what's been said, it's not 100% that the door is shut on Trey Holloman coming back.
Nope.
So if you're going to go and bash him right now, keep that energy when the season starts. When he gets introduced at the Breslin, keep booing him. Don't try to say, oh, I was just kidding. Oh, it was April Fool's. No, if you're going to have that energy, then you better just well reflect it, because don't be fake to these players, because these players have put the work in, put the effort in. Don't just go and say, oh, well, now they're back with my favorite team, so I'm going to be happy again and love them again. It doesn't go both ways.
And I'll say, from what I understand, it's probably unlikely that Trey comes back, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And I don't know if everybody's favorite player parent, Jeff Kohler, Jackson's dad, has been launching a campaign to try to get Trey to stay. So it's funny. That part's, you love to see players and parents sticking up for each other and all that sort of thing. But part of this, unfortunately, is just the way college basketball is nowadays. If you don't like it, I get why you don't like it, but that's not the player's fault. It's not the parents'. You don't know what goes into the decision to make them leave. And like Emmett said, if you're going to burn them and trash them on social media, that just gives them one more reason to stay. Trey could absolutely be 100% gone in his mind before all that. We don't know. But you're not giving them any reason to second guess it by that. And that's okay. I mean, if you don't want them back, then that's your personal opinion. That's fine. But social media is already toxic enough. You don't need to go on there and call a kid, and I say the kid loosely, I get they're adults, they make their own lives. But how many decisions did we all make as 18 to 20-year-olds that we probably, as we grew up, regretted or thought maybe that might not have been the right decision? And who knows, this could be the right decision for Trey. I'm not trying to say that it isn't. He may go to the best possible scenario and fulfill everything he needs from a different school, whether it's education, money, playing time, fit, closer to home, whatever. And maybe everything he wants, and that's good for him, and that's perfect. So we don't know why he's leaving. It doesn't matter, because we don't really need to have opinions on other people's lives, I guess, is my big whole soapbox. So it sucks. I would love Trey to be here next year. I'm sad to see him go, but he's got to do what's best for Trey Holloman, and that's that. Congrats for him to do it. Like Emmett said, we have no idea how much these players put in to their careers. I mean, Trey was distraught after the loss to Auburn. He was crying. He was hard to console. He thought he let his team down. I get he didn't have the best of games by his standards and by a lot of people's standards, but that's okay. Bad games happen. We've all had bad games if anybody's ever played a sport. And so it's just part of the nature. It sucks that it was on a huge stage, but that happened, and he was distraught about it. And even if he had already known he wasn't coming back, it still hurt him to lose and to not be able to succeed for MSU. So that's our little soapbox. To be perfectly honest with you, social media on Tuesday was just a cesspool. And so we just had to say something. Obviously, if you guys have watched a lot of our episodes, we tend to be pro player and pro parents, and that's one thing. So if you want to count that as a bias or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're MSU fans. Whoever laces up for MSU is always part of the MSU community, whether they're coming and going, whether they're going to be here next year, whether they're going to be here in 10 years, whatever. We support Michigan State athletics. And we also have a Hall of Fame coach that's running this team. So trust in Tom Izzo. I know he hasn't been the biggest portal supporter, but we understand what we need, and there's a decent chance he comes through and we can be in the same spot next year. And at that point, no one's going to be any more upset.
And let me say this. As someone who covered this team, was at all the home games this year, and was in that locker room post-game to talk to players, there was never a moment where Trey Holloman, Xavier Booker, Garrett Norman were ever mentally checked out. These guys all were putting it all on the line. These guys were all locked in at all times. The only time I wasn't in the locker room for really a main game would be the Atlanta games, which just happened. And you saw everything on social media for how that was. Mm-hmm. So, trust me, these guys were fully locked in. There was a reason Trey Holloman was the player that Tom Izzo named as the captain. Jaden Akins was voted by the team. Holloman was named by Coach Izzo himself. Mm-hmm. So do not think for a second that, he was mentally checked out. He didn't care about that last game. That's why he airmailed so many shots. No, do not think that for a second. Personally, I wish the best for Garrig, Xavier, and Trey. I wish them the best, both athletically and academically. And hopefully, at least one of them is somewhat close to MSU or somewhat close to any school that's in the Michigan area so that I can drive down and go to one of those games hopefully next year. That's honestly what I hope for.
And the last little discourse, just take the athlete out of it and stuff. I mean, trashing anybody on social media is just a little ridiculous. I think social media, I mean, we all know what it is. It's not the best place for that. You got to kind of have some thick skin and whatnot. But at the end of the day, everybody's human. I mean, imagine waking up and looking at your phone and having people calling you names left and right and doing all this.
Yeah,
Players
imagine if
see
you
that.
switched your job and you had all your coworkers from your previous job messaging you, saying stuff about you, because that would be the equivalent of what their world is, because they're on this national stage.
Mhm.
So sure, they didn't have their coworkers, their fellow athletes bashing them for that move, but imagine everyone you know or everyone you don't know randomly chiming in, tagging you, everything.
Yep.
It is not, social media is a very negative
Yep.
place at points, and I'm saying I would say back off. If you're that angry at the player, that angry at the parent, log off social media, put the phone down, go play Call of Duty, go play something. Don't go and just bash the player.
Well,
It's
there's
already a
always,
negative enough place. You don't need to go and add on.
yep. And there's always this Discord, so they don't actually see what I'm posting and this and that.
Oh yeah,
That's
they do.
100% false. Players see it all the time. Players are all over sports social media. It's a branding tool for most of them that they can use to make money at the very minimum. But who doesn't like to be on social media? So the players enjoy it. They love to be on it, and they 100% see it. And parents 100% see it too. Imagine your kid getting basically thousands of hate mail or hate tweets because they did something wrong. As a parent, anybody who has kids out there, I would be furious if my son was getting all this. So it's just not great. And if anybody thinks no, they don't see it, they don't see it. We've had players and parents reach out to us and talk between the two of us. Garrett personally, on my tweet thanking him, responded and thanked me for how nice the words were. His mom said the same thing. You know, we talk with some of these players and their parents, and that's the big thing. They see all of this stuff. So just keep that in mind before you send out a tweet or a little Facebook post, comment, whatever. It's all seen. And just kind of put yourself in that scenario and how crappy that would be. So
And we
that's
talked, this is one clip actually, we talked to friend of the podcast, Matt Seibert. We talked to him, I believe this was during when he was live streaming. We talked to him about, so how quick did you name search after a game? Something to keep in mind. We asked him this. He said the second I got on the bus when it was an away game. So so no matter what you're tweeting out and you think, well, they're not going to be on their phone. They either, go into Field House or Jiggy House, if you want to call it that, to party. No, they are going to name search. They will find out what you said. There's been times after games when, personally me, I've tweeted, this player had a great tackle for loss during the game, just as I'm live tweeting it from the press box. And lo and behold, as I'm exiting media for the day, I see this player liked your post. So these guys name search, they see their name, and and if you think, oh, I'm going to be sneaky and write number XYZ, they'll search by that too. They'll be able to see people who interact with it, and if someone names it in your comments, that'll still show up. Don't think you're sneaky by talking in code and writing number X, number 2, number 3, whatever.
Yeah. So that's just our little soapbox. It was frustrating to see all the hate that was being spewed on Tuesday for all three players, not just Trey. Obviously, Trey got the brunt of it, but, and whether it's expected, unexpected, whatever, again, they're making the best decision for them. So let's just leave it at that. So that ends our public service announcement. I know Zach echoes it as well. Like I said, he couldn't be here. He wanted to chime in on that too, but that's just kind of, we wanted to put something out here because we saw the craziness on Tuesday, and we hope that maybe somebody changes their mind. I don't know, but try to make the world a little bit nicer. How's that? So there's our little soapbox PSA for the day. Last of the MSU basketball news that we have before we get to the midseason awards really quickly. Victoryius Miller, guard from LSU, or wing from LSU, is entered the transfer portal. He has been linked to MSU. There's been people confirming that the Spartans are pretty heavily interested. Who knows if that's going to come to anything, but he's a really good player from LSU, and that would be a potential replacement for leaving Jaden Akins or Trey, potentially, just to help some scoring from kind of the wing, like 2 to 4 spots, I guess. So, yeah, that's all I had. Emmett, did you want to add anything before we got into the awards?
Just some stats for Victoryius Miller. 8.9 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 32% from 3, 73% from the foul line. He also had, 5 blocks, 13 steals. So, overall, just a classic wing that you would want, especially with Jaden Akins continuing on his career, hopefully to the NBA. That's definitely a player to monitor. Obviously, MSU is bringing in Jordan Scott and Cam Ward. but I believe from what's been said, Cam Ward might also play more of the 4 too, depending. So certainly something to monitor, especially with more scholarship than originally thought open. Additionally, Jase Richardson news, we have no news. We don't know if he's going. We don't know if he's staying. The Jase Richardson update is we have no update.
Yeah. There's been a million different theories and posts on social media. Decipher those how you want. We don't know anything. Hopefully we'll find out soon. So, yep. Let us know, guys, in the comments if that's something you would like more of, if you want more of a season as a whole, not just so much kind of the doom and gloom of the exit of the tournament. By and large, I think if you asked pretty much anybody in MSU's fan base, if you would guarantee us a Big Ten championship and Elite Eight run this year, I think all of us would have been satisfied with that.
Oh, if you had offered that to me, I would have asked what illegal substances you were on before taking it and running to the bank.
Yep, exactly.
This team definitely, I believe it was Stephen Brooks' quote that, this team was not a Final Four, but they were the one that made fans love them, was just as loved as a Final Four team. And I completely agree with that.
Yep. And so that's credit to the staff and to Tom in developing and kind of eyeing the roster that he wants. But yeah, we can do a more of a full season basketball breakdown at some point. Obviously, we have a lot of football stuff to do. We want to get some guests on to give you some maybe related sports topics, but then like a little bit of something you wouldn't necessarily expect, just about hard sports reporting and what happened and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff to talk about. And then spring football's closing up. And then before you know, it'll be official visit season. And we're going to have big recruiting breakdowns and stuff like that too. And so if there's anything you may also want us to potentially touch on in the off season, we'll probably do a mailbag or two here and there. So if you have any questions, be sure to let us know. The socials for the podcast are everywhere, or, message Emmett or I or Zach on Twitter. We can get that all squared away. So any ideas you guys have of things you want to see, we'd be open to putting that in play for you. So let us know. We went way longer than we wanted to again, so we appreciate everybody tuning in. Emmett, did you have anybody else or anything else you needed to mention before we signed off?
Just probably at some point this weekend, pay attention to my Twitter feed. I'll probably be doing another Ask Me Anything. Going to be a little bit separate from the mailbag. This is just going to be more a, hey, what do you want to know, especially since I've been able to reach out to a couple players, a couple parents. Obviously, I can't say a ton behind that wall, but I can try to give you more of insights into the team, into football, into basketball, and then I might have to tag in Chris or Jer for hockey, but I'll have the option of hockey available. Chris, you might end up getting tagged in for that, but yeah. So I'll probably be running that at some point this weekend. It's been about 2 weeks since I last did it, so I'm going to try to make that more consistent, especially since there's been some practice and some player interviews since then, so I'll be able to share more.
Absolutely. And I will also say I apologize for the audio episodes not copying over to Spotify and Apple. I figured out the problem. I have not got them all uploaded yet. It will be fixed. I swear. It's just been my regular job, the podcast, the writing, being a parent, being a husband, all that fun stuff. It's a crazy time of year. So that will be fixed, and we should hopefully be all up to date before the next episode comes out. I'll get this one edited soon, and I think this will probably air tomorrow at some point. Maybe Saturday if tomorrow gets away from me a little bit, but that's kind of the plan. So everything should be up to date as soon as this episode is posted, or before the next episode is posted. And then we will try to get an episode recorded next week and out to you right around the same time. So like I said, if anything you want to hear from us, let us know. Make sure to check in Emmett's questionnaire. I will be around answering anything I need to, or chiming in with sarcastic comments here and there as well. So anything you want us to hit, please do. And then if you're bored, SpartanShadows.com has a lot of great stuff. Check it out. See some great articles from a lot of talented people, not just Emmett, Zach, and I, but there's some really good writing going on over there with what we do and what we're building.
In the basketball season, Joey Shaver having, I believe, a preview for every single game. Huge shout out Joey for that, because made my life a lot easier, because going into the game, especially if I was busy with my other job or anything, I could just read through Joey's to get a good scouting report for the team. Or if we would talk about it on the podcast, would make my life easier too, to say, hey, going into this game, here's what we had known, and here's what happened. So quick shout out Joey, shout out Matt Eichstadt, shout out Ben Schadel, shout out everyone who has helped with Shadow so far. I'm sure views might go down a little because you have this dead period, But be sure to check back. We'll try to keep it entertaining. We'll try to bring in some interesting guests. More on that in the future, hopefully.
And we've got some potentially exciting guest lines up for the podcast here. And then when football season ramps up, we're all systems go. So check out the website, check the podcast. I do want to also shout out real quickly Anthony Garber, or the real Shardy. He does a lot of fun stuff with basketball and football stats. So he does some great work writing some articles for us too. But check him out for all his fun. He's always got a great stat to put in for something, especially during basketball season. So shout him out. That's it. We could thank everybody. We'd be here until Tuesday. So we appreciate it. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys more than you know. It's been a lot of fun getting this up and going. We're looking to really take it to the next level soon. Hopefully you all join us. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom, tell your grandma. Let's get everybody watching. And then, hey, fun times are happening soon here in East Lansing. So we again appreciate everybody. I've said that 100 times, but thank you. Go Green.
Go White. God, that was a marathon.
Yeah, that's probably going to